Hey guys, I'm Cameron Gomez. I'm a realtor in Waco, Texas. In 2020, I closed 113 units, totaling over 23 million in volume. If I can do it, you can do it too.
Listings, sales, and bigger commissions. Welcome to the Rookie Mega Agent Show. If you're looking to grow your business and increase your production, you're in the right place. I'm Spencer McDuffy, head of Rookie Mega Agents. Let's get to work.
What's going on, everybody? Spencer McDuffy here. 113 units on the show today. We've got Cameron Gomez, and he is going to share with us exactly what he did to take his business to a level of production that most agents, including rookie agents, could only dream of. So everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Rookie Mega Agents podcast, and let's dig right down into it. Cameron, how's it going, sir?
Good, brother. How you doing?
I'm making it, man. I'm making it. So, thanks for being on the show. First and foremost, doing the amount of business that you've done so far is just totally crazy. It blew my mind when you told me what your 2020 was looking like. But before we dig into really exactly how you got to where you are today as a rookie mega agent, tell me a little bit about yourself. What did you do before you got into real estate?
Yeah, so I used to work for a bank locally, actually out in Stephenville. Whenever I was going to Tarleton, I had started my banking career there, where I was a personal banker, kind of working my way up in the rankings. And whenever I graduated, I took over the branch manager position in Waxahachie.
Okay.
And then at the same company is where I met my wife, who was born and raised in Waco. And happy wife, happy life. I'm in Waco now, type of thing. And I have two kids, a son named Manny and a daughter named Bella. And they're really the foundation behind me and a lot of my success and our success, my wife and I together.
Right.
And now we're here in Waco.
Okay. Awesome, man. Awesome. And so you were in banking before you got into real estate, right?
Correct.
And how long were you doing that?
Yeah. So I was with the company just over 4 years.
Okay. And that was a sales-based position?
Yeah. So initially I was just a personal banker. So yeah, we had monthly sales goals, account production, direct deposits, things of that nature, where they give you quotas and bonuses, if you hit it and exceed it and whatnot. But then really as I became the branch manager, it was more of about, it's a management position now. I'm kind of above all of my employees, and now it's about development and helping the branch as a whole succeed rather than just me, myself.
Right. Okay, cool, man. So you were doing the banking thing. You did that for quite a while. What led you to stop doing what you were doing and to get in real estate in the first place?
Yeah, man, it was tough at first, bro. It was whenever we left, it was crazy. We were planning a wedding. Luckily I had a little bit in the bank, reserves and whatnot. And the company that I was working for, they're open non-traditional banking hours. So it was like 7 days a week,
Right.
extended hours, past 3, past 4. And my wife worked at the company as well. And so we were living in Hillsborough at the time. And so my day would start turning left, going to Waxahachie, spending all day and then driving home. Her day would start in Hillsborough, turn right, go to Waco. And so we weren't getting home till 8, 9 o'clock every single night. And then she would work a weekend, I would work a weekend. So that family time was really tough. And
Right.
So I was thinking, I was like, man, we need to get into something where, we can lean on each other together, still be ourselves. And we always had the sales attitude and the sales drive. But we need to get into something that we can still provide for our family and just have a good time doing, but still build our name up and be well known. We love going places and people know us, like a county famous, you could say. And, real estate really met the part of a lot of the boxes that we were checking that we needed to make sure, to be successful as a family and individually.
Got it. So a big part of you deciding to get into real estate was that you were looking for a little bit more time freedom, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Still my own schedule. I mean, the world of real estate, especially at 113 units, time is crazy. But the thing is that you get to set when you're busy and when you're not. I'll stack a Monday with 3 or 4 clients, showings back and back and back. So that way I can have a light Tuesday with the family and things of that nature. You have the control. You don't have a regional manager above you telling you, no, you need to work X, Y, and Z days, and you don't have nothing to say about it. You choose your own schedule type of thing.
Right. Okay, awesome, man. So you were doing the baking thing. You did that for 4 or 5 years. There was not enough time freedom in it, not enough flexibility for your schedule and everything like that. And so one of the things that I always like to talk to about the rookie mega agent audience out here, what I want them to get from this podcast is the trajectory, right? I want to know, how were things when you were brand new, so that other agents who are thinking about getting into the business, what can they reasonably expect to achieve? So I guess my first question would be, what year did you get your license in?
Yeah, so I got licensed at the end of September in 2018.
Okay, got it. And so you had that kind of 3-month ramp up period there before you really hit your first full year in real estate. Tell me a little bit about those first 3 months and what was really happening at that time.
Yeah, it was the struggle bus. It was definitely a lot of ramen noodles and trying to make it what it is, get your name out there in the industry where there's so many. The thing is, I moved to Waco. No sphere of influence, no close friends nearby. I had my wife, my kids, and the love and support of my family. I have family in other states, in Dallas, Fort Worth area, but nobody here locally. And so I really had nobody to call up and say, hey, be my first client type of thing.
Right.
But, that first 3 months that I got my license, we closed 3 deals.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you immediately started.
Yeah, I closed my first transaction on Halloween of 2018. So just barely over a month after I got my license. And it was really the hustle, I lean on, I know we'll get on it here in a little bit about lead gen, but Facebook was my best friend. I let everybody know as I was getting my license, and I highly recommend that to anybody, is let people know you're getting in the business. From day one of me having the idea of getting into real estate to when I really got my license, really helped put me in a good position.
Very good, man. So tell us then that first, you did 3 deals in that first 3 months. Let's go to 2019 and tell the audience, what was your first full year of production actually looking like?
Yeah, so 50.
Okay, so you did 50 deals your first year.
First year, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so let's stop right there. And obviously, the next year you did 113 deals, which is insane, dude. You over doubled your business, and your first year out of the gate, you weren't playing small ball that first year, doing 50 deals. So let's stop right there and look at, how in the world did you do 50 transactions your first full year as a real estate agent?
Yeah. So one, having a crazy work ethic. I'm not one of those 9 to 5. I'm the 6 to 11 type, I'm always constantly on the grind, always marketing myself.
Right.
So whether it be just, going to a restaurant or going out to somewhere to eat or shopping centers, I was always passing out business cards.
Gotcha.
Always trying to get my name out there, and just be a little bit different from the thousands of other agents kind of in the area.
Okay, cool, man. Cool. So that first year, then you were big on Facebook. Give the rookie mega agent audience some nuts and bolts as far as what were you doing? Was Facebook the only lead generation source that you were using at that time?
Yes.
Okay, so no expired, no for sale by owners, no cold calling.
So for sale by owners expires, yes. But as far as like lead gen, I'm thinking like Zillows, all of those, like the paid subscriptions and stuff. And so the work ethic is where I talk about the for sale by owners and the expireds. I work those every single morning. I get up, check expireds, and I'm a part of 3 different MLSs.
Okay. So
I don't just try to market one area. I get my name out there. I call myself basically the I-35 agent. I'm always I-35, either in DFW, here in Waco, Temple, Belton area, no matter where it's at. So really just getting your name out there, getting the exposure, joining these different associations. That way you can have a bigger outreach. If you limit yourself to one, you have those county lines that you can sell when there's so much more real estate out there.
Right. So definitely going at this thing with a little bit of a wider net than maybe what some agents do. Let me ask you, with that kind of approach that you took, what percentage of your business was, listings versus buyers?
Yeah. So I'm more of a seller agent than a buyer's agent.
Okay.
I know because I just ran the numbers not too long ago. Out of, I think 2020, it was like 60 something on the selling side and like 50 something on the buyer. So it's very close, but it's still in favor of the seller.
Right. And was it maybe like that 60-40 split, seller versus buyer, when in your first year too, or were you more buyer heavy there as well?
No, I think, the first year I was a little bit more buyer heavy. It was probably 60-40 in favor of the buyer my first year, but then 2020, it kind of flipped on the other side.
Got it, man. Okay, so man, let's dig right down into this thing, man. Now that we kind of laid your stats on the table, everybody knows you, Mr. I-35, the real estate agent who's crushing it. You know, doing 113 deals, working with primary listings, man. Give us some meat and potatoes on, you know, if I'm a brand new agent coming out of the gate, wanting to do 50 deals in my first year, you know, how can I go out and do 60-40 buyers versus listings? How do I go out and get those clients?
Yep. Don't be afraid to cold call the for sale by owners. I'm on Zillow almost daily. It's probably about every other day. I'm checking for newly updated for sale by owners. Set notes, set reminders in your phones. Remember the conversations. You'll be, whenever somebody answers the phone, you know, get something out of them that you can, on the next conversation that you have, that you can remind them that way you had that conversation. You know, maybe if you catch them cooking dinner or something like that, write that down. And, and on that next call, you know, maybe ask him about it. You know, hey, what'd you make for dinner that night? And I remember you were cooking. It shows that you are actually listening and you're not just making a sales call. Because that's really what it's about, is building relationships. You know,
and there's nothing worse than doing a follow-up call or just trying to reach out to somebody again that you might have talked to shortly and just remembering nothing from the conversation. Like that sucks. That happens sometimes. You know, maybe you forget to write your notes down, or for whatever reason you don't know what you talked about. All you know is that you talked to this person for 4 minutes and 30 seconds, but you don't know nothing else other than that. So I definitely think
very minimal. Get their name to at least be able to say bye. You know, Robert at the end of the conversation goes a long way. And on that next conversation, whenever he answers again, hey, Robert, this is Cameron. We talked last week. You know, it makes it more personable rather than, you know, hey, this is Cameron calling. It's going to think that he's probably gotten 4 or 5 agent calls from then. He doesn't care. And it could be another Cameron, you know, but kind of, it's just something to set yourself apart. You got to
Right. So is that kind of the main lead generation strategy that you used? Obviously, you were using Facebook, and we're going to get into the Facebook thing. But as far as like the traditional buckets of like expired, for sale by owners, just listed, just sold, I mean, was FSBO kind of your main focus for going out there and getting like the now business?
Yeah, so FSBOs and expireds heavily. So expireds, I do a lot of door knocking. So, you know, I'll set a certain radius of areas that I'll drive to, make sure that the house, you know, is owner occupant. I'm not going to go door knock a vacant, and then nobody's going to be there. And so just doing my due diligence beforehand, and you know, sending mail outs. You know, I'll always send the mail out. I'll go door knock at times where others won't. You know, if it's 5 or 6 at night when the typical person is at home, that's when I'm door knocking. I'm not door knocking in the middle of the day when nobody's going to be there. Sometimes I have to, just because of my schedule, but I'll always leave a business card, because whenever they get home, boom, they're going to see your business card there. And I'll always follow up with a mail out afterwards, whether it be 3 or 4 days later, because they'll have the first touch. Either they answered the door or they didn't answer the door. And if they didn't answer the door, well, then they're getting my card. So that's at least touch number 1. And then they're getting my mail out in the mail in the next 4 or 5 days, where they're like, oh, okay, I remember Cameron, he came by. So that's already 2 touches that the people have your name, and then maybe try to follow back up with another door knock to hopefully get them to answer this time or whatnot.
So is the door knocking kind of your primary strategy then for getting a hold of the for sale by owners and the expireds? Yeah. So I do a lot of door knocking. Just like one day, you know, there's like 6 or 7 different zip codes in the Waco area. And so I'll just say, okay, today I'm going to 76705. That's going to be my primary goal. And, you know, let's see what we can get. So I'll pull all the expireds, you know, in the last 60 days or whatever that are owner occupant. I'll just make my rounds. Cool, man. Dude, this is awesome, because this is a little bit of a different strategy than what we've heard from a lot of people. Obviously, when we're talking for sale by owners, a lot of people are setting preview appointments and they're making these calls to the expireds to get in front of them, hopefully by setting a listing appointment. But you're going straight to the door of the expired and the FSBO. So how does that work? I mean, obviously we have Corona going on right now. Like, are you spending your entire day going from expired to expired to expired? Are you going to one expired and then kind of knocking the neighborhood around the house? Like, what's your actual, like, how does it actually play out when you go do that?
No, I'm just tailoring. So I'll just do 1 zip code pretty much per day, right? So Waco's not really that big of an area anyways. You know, there's 5 or 6 zip codes, but it's like 120,000 population. So I can get from one side of the city in 20 minutes. You know, and so if I'm going to choose the 76705 for the day, there may be 4 or 5 houses. I mean, that's basically only going to take maybe an hour. You know, it's not all that much time out of my day that I'm just on the road constantly, and I'm only I'm only doing one zip code a day. So all the houses are pretty close within each other, you know. It's
Right.
not like Fort Worth where the zip code, 76133 is 100-mile radius type of thing.
Right. So do you have kind of like a plan that you use where like, hey, I'm gonna every day when two or three new expireds hop on the market, I'm going immediately to those, or are you maybe doing it like on a Saturday and you hit the whole list for the week, or like how does that work?
Yeah. So I do it kind of sporadically throughout the week.
Okay.
And I always just filter it in whenever I don't have appointments and stuff already. And so if I'm ever looking at my calendar, which is behind me right here, on the days that are blank, those are my for sale by owner calling days, and those are my door knocking days. You know, I never have a blank day because there's always something to do. And so
You're always making sure that your schedule's full, even if it's just like prospecting, gym,
exactly.
you know. Okay, got it. So, dude, that's awesome, man. So you're door knocking a lot of the expireds. You're obviously calling FSBOs and door knocking FSBOs as well. I think one of the main things that people are going to say when they answer this, I guess, is two things. How are you doing this with Corona going on in 2021 these days? And then also, what exactly are you saying, you know, whenever you get there to the front door? Like, what's the pitch? How does it sound?
Yeah, so I mean, I knock on the door. I always have my mask on, and I step well back. You know, you'll always get a feel of people's body language whenever they answer the door. You know, some people have answered the door with a mask on, totally understandable. I have mine. I'm 10 feet away, you know, and I kind of reach in a little bit to hand them a card. Some people have like those little stands and whatnot, little bird feeders out there, like, oh, just put it on the door. And so I'm well distanced away. So I'll talk to them, be like, hey, you know, my name's Cameron. I'm a local realtor in the area. I've seen that you recently had your house on the market. But it's no longer anymore. Are you still thinking about selling?
Right.
And it's either one, yes or no, or hey, kind of on the fence with things, and then just taking it from there. You know, I always try to get a feel of, you know, well, how was that experience with the other agent?
Mm-hmm.
You know, did you enjoy it? A lot of times they'll tell you, oh, well, communication was terrible, or they really did nothing. They took pictures with their phone, you know, and then that's when you really get to start setting yourself apart. Okay, well, you know, example, if somebody said, well, they took pictures with their phone, I don't think marketing was there. And then my answer would pretty much be, okay, well, just to let you know, I partner with a couple of different professional photographers and videographers in the area that I come out of my expense and do on the property myself. You know, I want to make sure that all the properties that I represent are marketed in its best ability and best quality, because that's a direct representation of my work. And that's an expense that I take on. You never have to worry about that. And then just communication. You know, I tell them I'm available 24/7, really anytime that you call me. And then I'll even ask them, like, has anybody else door knocked you? And, you know, has anybody else come up and done what I've done? Oh, you know, no, nobody's really come and door knocked me, or I've gotten a couple letters in the mail and stuff like that, but just doing what others don't. And then they get to see a face. Anybody can be ink on a paper.
Right.
And that means that's going to mean nothing to them whenever they have 3 or 4, you know, all at once. But when they actually see you, talk to you, it builds that relationship.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. And so I also have spent a significant amount of time door knocking expireds as well. I eventually did get away from it a little bit more, but I want to ask you, for the audience, you know, a lot of people know that when you're doing expireds, you know, you're calling them, obviously, it's kind of the basic level. And then when you call them, the objective is to set that appointment. You know, when you go there face to face, is that still the objective, or are you just looking to like grab an email and phone number and that makes it a successful door knock? Or are you there saying, hey, you know, let's do a listing appointment right now, or hey, let's schedule a listing appointment in the future? Like, how is that working?
Yeah. So it's actually, I've gotten kind of both this, you know, two sides of that. I had a couple that are like, okay, yeah, you know, come on in, you know, gonna give me a little spill about you. And I've gotten listing agreements where I just typed them up right there in the living room. And there's others that are like, okay, well, you know, let me think about it. Let me talk to my significant other. Do you have a card? You know, those are the ones that you typically get, which is fine, because I've gotten a lot of call backs. You know, it's all about just, you know, setting who you are up front so they know. But definitely getting that phone number and at least an email or of some sort, some type of contact info, so you can send that follow up. You know, as soon as you're home that night, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, it was a pleasure to meet you. I always pull a market analysis for sale by owners and expireds. You know, whenever I get that contact info, and be like, hey, I know you had your house on the market for this. You know, maybe it was a month ago. Now the market is trending this way. This is about a good range where your property would be. You know, with my marketing expertise, you know, I think that we can get that, you know, get that number for you.
Right. So using all these different strategies, then going after the expires, being super aggressive and going and door knocking them has obviously allowed you to kind of differentiate yourself from the pack. And so what about with the for sale by owners? Like what's different there? Are you going after it? Because, those people are a little bit easier to get a hold of on the phone. Are you still going straight to the door on the for sale by owners?
Yeah. So I always look up, on the county appraisal sites and stuff like that to make sure they're owner occupied, so for at least the ones that are owner occupied, definitely getting out there, same approach. But with the for sale by owners, I'm bringing that quick CMA, not 18-page, CMA.
Right. Yeah.
Full of documents. Nobody's going to want to go over that, but a quick CMA, hey, I ran the numbers preliminary on your property. Of course I haven't been in it to fully see. And sometimes a lot of the for sale by owners, they don't have professional photos. So you really don't know the quality of the house itself. But I'm telling that up front, I went ahead and did my homework before even coming to your door. And I just want you to have this knowledge, putting your property on the market with me. I think this would be a solid fit for you. Of course, this is just the numbers. It's not based on what you may have inside. You may have some golden toilets I don't know about. That's going to really up that price range. I have no idea. I'd love that opportunity, to come inside, to get a good walkthrough of the property and set that good value for you. It's going to pay for bringing me on, essentially, percentage wise, benefit you and the timeliness,
Right. So I want to drill down on that because what is the intention when you go with the for sale by owner? Are you it sounds like you're really talking about hey, I'm making a sales pitch, I'm showing up to the door and I'm telling you, hey, this is what I can do for you. Are you taking that kind of approach? Or are you building up rapport, doing a preview, knowing that you got to do some follow up after? Or are you just hardcore, hey, this is what I can do, this is what it's going to cost you, I know it's worth it and here's why. How aggressive it?
Yeah, so I always go prepared aggressively, but I'll deliver it to them as I see that I need to. So I'm very good at reading somebody, just by the way you answer the door and the look on your face, I can pretty much tell what this conversation is going to look like, and it's just because I've done it so many times and I've been in sales, even outside of real estate. Once you give somebody that opening pitch, how the conversation is pretty much going to flow for the most part. So I always go there, with my net sheets, with my CMAs and whatnot. And then I'll deliver it as the conversation is going. And so, I always answer the door. Once they answer the door, I always introduce myself, tell them really the reason why I'm there. I see that you're selling your home, without an agent. Have you thought about putting it up on the market with an agent? It's either going to be a yes or no.
Right.
It's a yes or no probing question at first, because if it's no, then it's easily, okay, well, just so I ran a market analysis for you. I think your property would be at this, here, I did this for you. Go ahead and take a look at it. And then I always has a business card stapled to it or whatever, so they can at least look it over. Many times they'll read it and they'll be like, oh, okay, well, 210 is much better than 185. And that pays for itself already, with our percents and whatnot.
Right.
But then it's yes, hey, I am thinking about putting my house on the market with an agent. Okay, boom. Now you got to be different, because then it's okay. What agent? It's obviously not me, because you haven't called me yet. So it's probably Joe Bob, with XYZ Realty over there. And so now it's time to be different. And so it's for a yes, it's kind of like, well, okay, I'm glad to see that you're open to listing with an agent. A couple things about me. And then I start giving them a little bit of my stats. I try not to talk too much about me and what I've done, because it's not about me. It's about them. But I always throw it in there kind of periodically, so that they know that they're not just dealing with, a regular agent. And even if you're not, if you are a brand new agent, you may not have many stats to talk about. Talk about your brokerage. Maybe you're with the number one brokerage in the area. Hey, I'm John Smith with ABC Realty. We sold the most in whatever county, in 2020 or whatever. Find things to talk about.
Right. And what I've seen doing that too is just like you said, I think people, even new agents, go way overboard trying to go find stuff to talk about themselves. Dude, the reality is no one really cares about you. Just like you said, they care about them and their transaction. So you could go spend that time and, figuring out how many deals your team sold. And so you have stuff to talk about. In my opinion, you're probably going to have a way better conversation just pre-qualifying that seller, figuring out what their goals are, figuring out what their plans are. And until you even do that, dude, they don't even really care what you have to say. Would you agree with that? Or do you feel like you really need to have some stats?
Yeah, no, more important to build that rapport and have that conversation with the seller. Always kind of have, some stats in the back of your mind. Don't hit them with the stats initially. I'm not door knocking and saying, hey, I'm Cameron. I sold 23 million last year. You want to list your house with me?
Right. It sounds good to you.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. And I feel great and all warm and fuzzy inside, but that means nothing to the seller. They give absolutely, no care. And so have it in the back of your mind, because there are going to be those sellers that do ask, hey, well, what did you do? And so you don't want to be like, well, I did, no, because you don't want to be like that. You want to have it in the back of your mind, but don't let that be your first swing,
Right.
Let that be the full count, three balls, 2 strikes. That's your swing for the grand slam type of thing, but don't let that be the first swing, up to plate. It's
right. Love it. Yeah. So just thinking through this and everything that you're telling me, you did 50 transactions your first year in the business, give or take 50-50. I know it's closer to 60-40, but let's say you did 25 listings in your first year. Is that all expireds and FSBOs?
For the most part, because remember, I didn't have much of a sphere. So I didn't have, and I'm 25 years old. And so if you think about people's sphere, they're like-minded people that you typically hang out with. Most of my friends are still in college, if not barely graduated. They're not in a house for 5 or 10 years now ready to sell, because 5 or 10 years ago, they were in the 8th grade.
Right.
I don't have these friends that are adults, in their 30s, 40s. So it was all about building myself and capturing those for sale by owners and expireds, because that's all I really could, because I didn't have that sphere to call me up, because they didn't have nothing for me to sell.
Right. So the point that I want to make to the audience is this, and is that in your first year, like, you went super old school, door knocking and cold calling. It sounds more heavy on the door knocking side, expireds and FSBOs for virtually free, just spending gas money. And just from those 2 sources, you got at least 25 listings.
Yes. And I'll probably door knock. And the thing is, it's always a numbers game. I'll probably door knock 300-400 houses to get 25. It's those that you have to have the mindset of, I'm going to get 9 no's before I get a yes.
Right.
And get discouraged for it. It's whenever you get that door slammed in your face or that no, and then you see the property listed with another agent next week. I still get upset a little bit about that, but that fuels me and that drives me. That day that I see that, and I know I just went and talked to Sam Jackson about listing his house and offered all these great things, and now he listed it with somebody else. I'm just like, all right, I'm getting out in the car today. I got to get 2 now to make up for that 1. And so it's always just having that mindset of, shaking it off. Don't let it get the best of you. Don't let it kind of overbody you, because it will. You will get so many more no's than you will get yeses. But it's just building that funnel, right? The more people that you talk to, you don't even really have to be that good. But if you talk to 1,000 people, you might find 25 listings in that. Exactly.
That's awesome.
And I mean, it's totally old school. You hear that all the time. Everybody's always going to tell you it's a numbers thing. You got to talk to 100 to get 5 or whatever the case may be is. But in reality, it's the truth. We're not secret agents. We want people to know about us. We want people to know about the business that we serve. So it's always, if you're at the gas station where you put your credit card in, to pump for the gas, once I'm done, a business card going inside. So then
I like it.
Oh, Cameron Gomez. Okay. They may shred it. They may not. You never know what the situation of that next person is going to be. Anytime I go out to eat after we pay for the bill, I always slide a card into that little billfold. It's always about just maximizing it and capitalizing, the lead gen outside of the social medias and being that person-to-person interactions.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, we haven't even got to the social media yet, but I want to definitely make sure we get there. But so you did like roughly 25 listings then in your first year. And then, so what about the other balance of like the remaining 25 deals, give or take, that you did on the buyer side? Where did you generate these buyer leads from that you ended up going out and doubling your business from 25 listings to 50 sides?
Yeah. So a lot of the listings, sometimes I'll get both sides. Once you get your sign in the yard, that's lead gen automatically. Your cars are going constantly, driving by. I'm getting calls off my signs and whatnot. Very important, partnering with other affiliate members like lenders, title companies, and stuff like that. There's a couple lenders that I work with that have their own little social media thing where they blast, my properties on whatever that they do to help build business as well. And so just getting those relationships built. A lot of social media. Open houses, that's that's a good way to get buyers. I have a new agent under me right now. My buddy Mercedes, he played basketball for Tarleton, if you remember. He just recently got licensed, and so he's building a lot of his clientele off of open houses on my listings. And so that's exactly what I did. Is whenever I first got in the business, I would ask these bigger agents that had all these great properties, I would ask to do open houses. I'm doing 2 on a Saturday, 1 on a Sunday. I'm keeping my name out there, blasting it all over.
Right. So between basically getting the listing, AKA getting the sign in the yard of the listing, doing open houses, promoting it on social media, and doing open houses, obviously, is that pretty much the main ways that you leverage those listings? But let me ask you in a different way, in a better way. Did all your buyers come as a result of the listings that you got?
Oh, no, definitely not. No, I mean, I had a couple. People just reach out to me, mainly social media, as I'm posting every day type of thing. I always want to be in the mind of people and whatnot. And so just, DMs coming through, people commenting other people on my posts and me reaching out to those people. That's really how all the buyers start coming in. Nobody just randomly calls me and says, "Hey, Cameron, I found you. I want to buy a house." Now I'm getting that because I have the Zillow profile with 100 5-star reviews, and Zillow has me all the way at the top, whenever you're looking in the area and whatnot. But that's not the way it was at first. And so, nobody's calling me to buy or sell their house. I'm doing, that follow up and that lead gen to get them in.
Right. No, that's awesome, dude. Like I hear just the straight hustle in your voice. I mean, to go out and to build a business off door knocking for sell by owners, expireds, and working with buyers and doing 50 deals straight out the gate. Like, obviously you figured this thing out way faster than most people. In your second year, you're doing over 100 transactions. So my big question for you on that is, what changed, if anything, from year 1 to year 2 to then help you to double your business?
Yeah. So repeat clients, even a couple of my first years wound up selling and buying again. So that's already 2 units off of them already. I work a lot with investors, helping them buy, cheaper properties. Waco's really known for fixing and flipping. And so there's a lot of those investors here. And so we're working with 3 or 4 different ones that are buying, 4 or 5 properties. Well, say you have 3 investors that you're working with, they all bought 4 properties. That's 12 units right there. They rehab them 3 to 6 months later. Now I'm listing them.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. No, I had some investors that came into my business this year as well, and I've since kind of lost those investors as well. But it's been awesome having people who are especially fix and flippers. If you can get you some fix and flippers, rookie mega agents, if you can get you some fix and flip clients, man, it is awesome because 1, the inventory is low. The quality of a flip is typically better than some of the other types of houses that you can get on the market. It's just all around a fantastic way to build your business. I probably had maybe 15 flips that I sold this year from repeat clients as well. And that's a huge chunk of business to just be coming back to you consistently over and over like that. So what is the plan then for, for this year in 2021? I mean, are you just going to do like 300 units? I mean, what's the
No. So I'm a goal for 2021. I told myself 150 and 30 million in volume.
30 million in volume. And what does that work out to on GCI on average for you? What's that GCI for you? It just based on trends. If you did the 30 million, is that 900,000?
So just right about, sometimes with of course, repeat clients, investors and whatnot to make their margins, the world of real estate, it's all flexible, but yeah, we're hovering somewhere around there. Of course, before taxes, Uncle Sam always got the biggest handout I've ever met of any man in the world.
Right.
Big and deep. But yeah. And so my goal was tell myself I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm 30. So I have 5 years left, but I think I'll hit it beforehand.
Right. So I think one question that a lot of people are going to have listening to what your plans are and what you've done so far is it's still just mind blowing. How did you do this? I'm still curious. So I guess what systems and tools did you have at your disposal that you used to help balance all of these clients, 75 clients at least, how many, what were you doing to kind of run the actual admin side of your business?
Yeah. So Excel sheets, anytime I have a conversation, if it's a for sale by owner that I just cold called and they're like, hey, call me in 2 days. I don't just write it down. I put it in my phone immediately because I'm going to forget. My kids are going to start screaming. I'm going to have to go work on laundry or something like that. I'm going to forget immediately.
Man, so as we kind of wrap up this call, and I know you're busy doing 100 deals a year, you got to get back out there and start knocking on some expireds. If you could give some tips to a rookie mega agent who's just starting out, what overarchingly would you tell them to allow them to build their business up and not be one of the agents who, fails out of the business in 1, 2, 3, 5 years?
Yeah. So always have a great follow-up plan, take notes, build relationships, market yourself ways that you're not accustomed to. So if you see somebody else marketing a way that you're like, hey, I've never seen that before, maybe impact that into yourself. Don't be afraid to copy what other people are doing, add your own twist on it, of course, and whatnot, but, utilize people around you, maybe people that have been in the business for a little bit, kind of take a little bit from this guy, a little bit from her over here, and just mix it all together. One of my biggest idols is Floyd Mayweather. Well, what he always says is, he doesn't fight like Tyson. He doesn't fight like Ali or any of the Frazier. He fights like a mixture of all of them to be who he is, Right. And so I like to think of myself as a Mayweather agent. He's 50-0, the undefeated. I get beat out on listings and whatnot, but it is what it is type of thing. You have to have that mindset, and don't give up on yourself just because you get the no's and whatnot. Always know that that's just one step closer to a yes. Leverage your friends, your family, your social media as much as possible. That way you can get that outreach that you need to be successful.
Right. Man, that's awesome, man. That's plenty of great tips for the rookie mega agent audience to get out there and start doing some deals and following you there. How important was coaching, training, and mentoring for you in getting those first 50 deals and now in second year doing 113 deals? How important was, coaching and mentoring and kind of the people that you put yourself around and making you get that success?
Yeah. So kind of initially, I was with a bigger brokerage in the area, but they were everybody was pretty much to themselves. I asked questions when I could, but what I did starting out was I watched a lot of YouTube videos. Make yourself educated because you never know what questions are going to come at whatever time. But the thing is, you always want to have an answer for it.
Right. Yeah, man, I hear you on that. Well, dude, man, this has been an awesome show. I definitely appreciate you coming on here and sharing the love, sharing the knowledge and education that you've done. I mean, dude, doing 50 deals your first year, over 100 in your second year. It's almost unheard of in this business. So, I definitely want the rookie mega agent audience to take a note that, hey, with almost no money out of pocket, going straight old school, primarily door knocking on free lead sources that are just right there on the internet for you to go see. This dude did $23 million in volume last year, just mostly using free lead sources. You haven't used any paid lead sources really up to this point, right?
Yeah. So I'm Facebook. So like with boosting and stuff, I'll utilize that. That's been a huge heavy hitter, but no Zillows, no third parties outside of Facebook.
Right. That's awesome, man. That's insane. So guys, if you want to get like Cameron, be sure to look at the Instagram handle. I'm going to put it in the description below and in the video. We'll edit that in so that you can reach out to him, pick his brain, get some tips on how you can build your business up like he did. And as always, guys, thanks for watching the show. Cameron, before I let you go, do you have any other final thoughts for the audience before we get up out of here?
Yeah, man. Well, Happy New Year to everybody. It was a pleasure being on the show. Good to see you again. Always glad to see other Texans, prospering and doing their thing as well. I hope you and I get to work a deal together. Eventually, I got to get some clients out in, where you, Denison?
Yeah. I'm North Dallas. Yeah. So I'm a little bit out of the Waco.
Yeah. I'll touch, DFW, Waco, or Fort Worth, Crowley, Burleson, and whatnot. Not quite that high, but maybe one day. But really just everybody in the audience, definitely check out, my YouTube channel, Cameron J. Gomez. I do a lot of my video tours on that as well. Subscribe, give me feedback as well. Check out my Instagram at Cam Sells Texas. I'm an open book. So if you ever have any questions, definitely reach out to me, shoot me a text, give me a call, whatever the case may be is. I'm always here to help. If you have any questions, I'm here to give answers, to the best that I can. And just want to see us all eat.
There we go, man. That's awesome, man. So there you have it, folks. Another episode packed with, useful tips and tricks, things that you can go out today. You can go door knock a FSBO and an expired today and potentially get 100 deals this year. So go out there and get to work. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the channel. Be sure to go check out Cameron and be on the lookout for more videos coming soon. We'll talk to you guys later.